Hi everyone. Now we're having lesson 5 and 6 in chapter 1, patterns of change. In lesson 5, we're starting with two plants. We will talk about these two plants, okay? Acacia tree and water lily. We will talk about these two plants and how can they survive in their nature and the parts of these plants. Let's start with the acacia tree. As we can see in this tree here, we will talk about three parts: the trunk, roots, and the leaves. But first, what's meant by trunk? Trunk, it's like the stem, but the trees, because are very big, they're very huge, they don't have stem, they have trunk, okay? So here, as we can see, the trunk of the tree, this brown part, it's short. So the trunk is short and it splits into 2 or 3 parts. It splits into 2 or 3 parts, okay? The tree spreads wide instead of growing tall. So we should know that these trees are short trees. They're not tall trees like the one that you see in the jungle or the forest. They are short, but they spread widely. They are wide, okay? As you can see in the picture here. This is the trunk. Now let's talk about the roots. The roots of these plants are very long. They are very long underground. Why? To help the tree to reach the underground water. As we know, every plant needs water. So how can they get this water? By the roots, because the roots are moving underground to reach the water. And the roots of this tree are very long. Okay? The last part we're going to talk about in this tree are the leaves. The leaves grow at the top of the branches and spread wide like an umbrella. As we can see here, the trunk splits into 2 or 3 main trunks. Okay? Each trunk has branches. These branches are covered with leaves. These leaves, they spread wide like an umbrella. They look like an umbrella. Okay, the branches have thorns to prevent animals from eating its leaves. So the branches of these or of this tree, okay, or this kind, they have thorns. These thorns to prevent the animals from reaching, because if any animal climbed this tree, they will find the thorns, so they will get hurt, so they will not eat the leaves of this tree. This is how the tree tries to survive in the nature. So this is how they prevent the animals from eating its leaves. Okay, this is the tree. Now let's move to the water lily. The water lily also we will talk about 3 parts. The first one is the leaves. As you can see this picture showing the real plant. This is how the water lily look like. Let's talk about their leaves. They are large, rounded to float on the water surface to attract sunlight. As we can see, the leaves, the green parts that floating on the water, these are the leaves of the water lily. Okay? Why are they floating? Why are they so big or wide or rounded? To attract the sunlight, to get the sunlight. Okay? Leaves' upper surface is covered with wax to keep water out. Let's talk about this part. As we said, this green part is the leaf. Okay? It's covered with wax. It's covered with wax. Why? To keep the water from going out. So it can keep the water for a long time inside of it. Because if there is no wax, the water will evaporate. This plant will lose water very fast. So we need to keep it. So there is wax on the leaves. Okay? Leaf lower surface has thorns to protect it from getting eaten. Okay? We said at the top there is the wax. At the bottom or the lower part, okay, there is thorns. Why? To protect it from getting eaten. If there is a fish under the water, it can't eat this one because of the thorns. Okay? So this is how this plant protects itself. How it survives in the nature from getting eaten. Okay, these are the leaves. Now let's talk about the other two parts, the flower and the stem. As we saw in the previous picture that we had a white flower or colored flower, okay? It's a large, colorful pastels in the shape of rounded triangles. As we can see, this is the shape of the flower. They open few hours during the morning. So in the morning, the flower opens, okay, for few hours. Then the sunset, it closes a little bit more, okay? In the morning, they will open again, then they will close, okay? The next part is the stem. The stem, as you can see, it's long, it's flexible to fix the plant in the mud at the bottom of the water. So let's talk about this part. In trees, there's trunk and the roots underground, in the dirt, in the sand, whatever. But here, they don't have trunk, they have stem because it's long, it's thin, it's flexible, okay? This one, it's long and thin. Why? So it can be in the mud under the water. So it can be in the mud under the water. So this plant lives in the water, okay? This is the difference between the two plants. This is how these two plants survive in nature. They survive with different ways because they have different traits, okay? Now let's talk about lesson 6. Lesson 6 is talking about blubber. What's the blubber? Blubber, it's a layer of fats, okay? Under the skin, there's a layer of fat, we call it blubber, okay? This blubber helps the polar bears to adapt to their body temperature or make it constant, okay? These animals we have in the slide, they live in the polar habitat, as we took in the previous term, okay? They live in a very cold place. They need to be warm. How can they be warm? By the blubber. Their body has something called blubber. It's a fat inside their body. This fat keep them warm. These fats keep them warm. They keep their temperature constant. They make them warm and be able to survive. If they don't have blubber, they will die because they can't live in this very cold place, okay? So now we will see this picture, this weird one. This is actually the skin. This is your skin. Now we're going to say, what's the blubber? The blubber is a thick, fatty layer with many blood vessels. As you can see here, you will find this yellowish circle. These things are the fat, okay? These things are the fat. This is blubber, okay? And you will find this red and blue lines, which are the blood vessels. These are the blood vessels that we took in the previous term, okay? So what's the blubber? It's a thick, fatty layer with many blood vessels. It prevents means stops the loss of heat from their body. They keep the heat in, they keep them warm. So blubber keeps the animals warm, okay? Also, it keeps the temperature constant. It makes it constant, doesn't change. If it's 37, it will be 37. If it's 35, it will be 35. You keep them warm, okay? Now let's read it together in page 29. In the hands-on activity, vegetable shortening is used to represent blubber in the body. Vegetable shortening is a solid fat like other fats. It's a great insulator. Insulator means prevent the heat, okay, from reaching. An insulator slows the movement of heat. When you feel cold, heat is moving from your body to the environment. When you put your hand in the shortening badge and then in the water, your hand stays warm. You likely don't feel the icy cold water in the bowl. This is because the heat from your hand moves slowly into the shortening. When you put your hand in the empty bag and then in the water, you immediately feel cold. The heat from your hand moves quickly into the ice water. Let's describe this part or understand this part. Here it's talking about the insulator or the things that keeps the worm in your body. We're having two experiments. You will put your hand in a cold water, once with a bag and the other without anything. If you put your hand in a bag and close it and put it in the icy water, it's very cold water, you're not going to feel that coldness immediately. You'll have time because the heat in your hand will leave very fast. But if you put the hand inside the icy water without anything, immediately in the same second you will feel that's very cold. There will be no heat in your hand. Okay? So, an animal without enough insulation from fat, blubber, or fur might lose too much heat. If an animal's body temperature gets too low, it will not be able to move and live normally. Fat and blubber are very important to animals around the world. The bodies of animals in cold climates have adapted over the course of many generations. Cold climate animals might have other adaptations too. Some can shiver to keep their muscles warm. Some fluff their feathers to warm or to trap warm air near the body. Some of them, as we say, fluff, like the birds when they do their wings. One that shivers, like that. Okay, this is a way to keep yourself warm. Some animals also have thick fur and extra layer of insulating blubber, so less heat escape the body. This is how they try to keep the temperature or how to keep the heat inside your body for a long time. Each animal has its own different way to be warm. This is the lesson. Thank you for listening and goodbye.